Well, good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year's. Welcome to Red, White, and True, our final episode of 2024. Pastor Ed will be with us shortly. He had a few things he had to finish up. So you're stuck with me for a few minutes anyways. Hopefully I don't screw up too badly. All right, we got a lot of stuff we're going to cover today. Pastor sent me a list earlier, and we've got some top news stories and Christian stories and stuff like that. But I wanted to, real quickly, I wanted to shoot to a video that I just watched a minute ago. I thought it was pretty interesting here. If I can get the right one pulled up. Here we go. Kind of showed this year in review of politics. So here we go.
I've become friends with school shooters.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
You're a sucker. You're the loser.
They think he looks good in a bathing suit.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Doug.
Enough was enough.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes. We do not need 4 more years.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Oh, girl, baby girl. Oh, really? Don't even play, baby girl. We are going to move and we're going to take your words down.
Do you really want brats to run this country? They already do enough damage.
You don't understand the essence of Brat Summer.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I feel like my garbage truck. This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was at 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I had, how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark, gothic MAGA.
The late, great Hannibal Lecter.
American politics. Figured we'd start out tonight with a great laugh because that's what we all need right now. I enjoyed that video very, very much. All right. I also have another news story here, and it kind of came in jest that Donald Trump had mentioned at one point about taking over Canada as the 51st state. I thought it was Donald Trump being Donald Trump, but apparently now it's actually getting to be quite popular. A lot of people are talking about it. Just yesterday, there was probably 15 or 16 different news videos that I watched talking about Canadians are supporting it because of how high their rent costs are, everything. Their inflation is even higher than ours is. Hey, there's the pastor.
Hey.
So I found a video real quick, and I just wanted to show it, and then we can get on to what you have planned for us. If I can get it pulled up. No, that's not it. There we go. I'll get this down eventually one of these days. Oops. And of course I hit remove. Let me put it back.
Breaking news. Half of Canada says yes to becoming the 51st state. You heard that right. Kevin O'Leary, the Shark Tank star and Canadian billionaire, just dropped a bombshell. He's ready to broker a deal to merge Canada with the US. And get this, he claims that half of Canadians are actually on board. Yep, no joke. So here's the wild idea. What if Canada, instead of just sipping maple syrup and playing hockey, joined the United States? Imagine the power of combining two of the world's largest economies and wiping out the border. O'Leary's got the vision. Think common currency, no border hassles, and all that natural resource power right up against Russia and China. But hold on, this isn't all just about the economy. Trump's been pushing the idea for a while now, calling Canada a future state, and even teasing Justin Trudeau about becoming the governor of this new 51st state. Awkward, right? And O'Leary's ready to get to Mar-a-Lago to get things rolling. He says, trust me, 41 million Canadians want this. Now here's where it gets spicy. Trump claims Canadian taxes are too high and that businesses would boom if they joined the US. Imagine paying 60% less in taxes and having military protection like no other nation. It's almost too good to be true. What do you think? Is this a genius move to protect North America? Or is it just a crazy pipe dream? Hit the comments and let's talk about whether you'd be cool with Canada becoming part of the USA. Should Trudeau pack his bags? Let me.
What a wild idea, but I kind of like it.
Well, it's growing on me a little bit. There are definitely some positives to it. Canada, at least many parts, are much more liberal than we are. But I mean, we've got our own liberal bastions as well. So
looks like my camera is frozen yet again. So you take over and I'll be right back.
All righty. Well, we got each other's back. He had mine when I wasn't here at the beginning. And so we got him now. The Canada thing. I read a story about Kevin O'Leary. And his wish and desire to make that happen, and it I don't know. We'll just have to see. The right up against Russia part, I think it is a good thing that we would be right up there against Russia. The natural resources obviously are there. I'm going to guess it's going to take a while for anything to take place, but I wouldn't mind seeing that move forward.
It was saying it would make us the third largest population in the world behind China and India, which would definitely help out with the military.
Yeah. Can you imagine being in the military and finding out you're stationed in the Arctic Circle? Right? Anwar, Anwar is way up there. It is part of Canada. Anwar is an area up there. I actually interviewed he was like a political not activist, he was a PR person for the area, trying to get Washington to sign agreements with that area. It's a big deal. And ANWR, I think is what it's called, and they're sitting on like so much oil that the whole world would love to have it, except for like the oil rich countries that would have to start selling their oil much cheaper.
Too cold for me. Too cold for me.
Well, that's a fact, but you're right about the military. I mean, how much more we would have as far as choice wise, strategic locations. It could be a good thing.
Yeah.
So what's going on? Anything?
Not much over here. We're wanting to go camping, but my back is screwed up, so we decided we were going to bring camping here. So here in a little bit, we're going to build a little blanket fort in the living room, some blankets and pillows, and play some board games and watch the ball drop, just like we would have done out at camping in the woods. But the rut weather and my back eliminated that.
Yeah, the weather is now. I was running behind because probably nobody knows this except Amy and I, her boss, and maybe one other person. we are going to be leaving for vacation tomorrow instead of Thursday. So I was out running around getting some things taken care of that, kind of pushed things up a day. And so that's what I was doing. I didn't plan on dumping that on you right there at the very end.
Nah, big deal.
I didn't figure it was. And
I got it.
I apologize. My backdrop isn't as good as what it was in the past because I've kind of just got it thrown up and don't have it hanging like it has been. So I've got some of I think that's why I look like Orange Man Bad on here tonight. I guess that'll work okay. Trevor sends us some really, really, really good backdrops and different things. I really liked it. It didn't get to work as well as I had hoped it did, but I think
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to have a backdrop tonight or not, so I picked one out and threw one on there, but I like that one better than the one I found.
Well, I liked yours as well. It was a 2025 one, right?
Yeah.
Did it go away? Did it disappear?
I think I deleted it because I like that one better.
Well,
but I did create that little watermark there at the top right-hand corner. I did that for when I created the YouTube page. It wanted a watermark to prove it was our video, so I made that one real quick, and I figured I'd add it to this too.
Well, I noticed that, and your 2025 was a good one. I just I wanted that on the one that we played because we didn't really do a countdown like we do a lot of times, and so that was supposed to be for in place of the countdown. And I suppose, oh, you already got rid of it.
I can bring it back. I got it right here.
Put it on there we'll bring it up for a second. While you're doing that, I wanted to talk just a second about Red, White, and True. Let's see if here, I'm going to do this real quick. All right. Talk a little bit about Red, White, and True. And I, the way this has come together and come about is pretty much a God thing. Amy and I started with Prayer and Share in March of 2000. Right about the time they closed the world down. And we prayed daily. We were on for maybe 10 or 15 minutes and we prayed and said that we would continue to do that until COVID was gone or God led us different. And so we continued. And 4+ years later, Amy has a schedule change that only allows her to be with us one day a week. And so actually we just decided, I don't know who the other part of we is, but that we would do an election special and ask Ronnie if he would be a part of that. And as he always is, he's agreeable to just about anything. And so he didn't realize that we would be on for 8 hours. 8 hours that very first night. And now I will remember the date very well because 11/5, and Ronnie knows why I say I'll remember it because of something that has 115 in it. And so it went so well on that first night that I asked Ronnie if he would like to do what we're doing now, change it to a weekly live stream. And it kind of just has grown from there. We come up with a name. We have gotten social media. For Red, White, and True, we're on X, TikTok, Facebook. We have a YouTube page that'll be streaming to starting next week. And we've got a website that we're working on, as well as we have many additional features through the StreamYard program that we use to broadcast. So I haven't been able to check and see if we're on all the places that I believe we're on, but I think we are on my page, my Facebook, on Amy's Facebook, on New Defiance Facebook, we may not have made it onto Red, White, and True Facebook. I may not have downloaded that yet. But we're on my YouTube, we're on my X, and we're on Red, White, and True X all tonight. We can now be on 8 different locations at one time. And so, Ronnie, I want to thank you for agreeing to do this. I mean, it's been prayed over, and it's an important thing to me. I mean, I've been podcasting since 2008. And while this is a little bit different than a podcast, it's basically just a live stream podcast. People that podcast now usually have a live stream to go along with the audio podcast, and we'll do something with that as well. And so thank you for, as we close out 2024, thank you for your part of Red, White, and True.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I know when it was talked about what we were going to do, or what you guys were going to do for prayer and share, you know, I had thrown my name in the hat. Oh, I'll do one with you, whatever. And, you know, I don't know if you took it as I was joking or what, as, you know, why not, you know, and you invited me to do it. And like you said, the 8 hours, and it was a blast. I had so much fun. And then, you know, we've kind of taken this ball and just kind of went running with it. And it's been great. I enjoy it. I enjoy every minute of it. I started out being a nervous wreck and standing outside chain smoking cigarettes before we started. And now I'm just kind of like, oh, hey, it's time. Let's go. And you were talking about the website and everything, and I wanted to show something that we kind of created, since somebody last week had mentioned merch, and it's not one I want to show very well, but I have the official Red, White, and True iced coffee cup that we created. So we're working on a few different ideas. You know, I figured I needed a Red, White, True iced coffee cup, since it's all I drink when I'm doing the show. So,
well, and you know, your mom always has a Pioneer Woman one on for her and share. So, you know,
oh well, mine's cooler. Plus, it's not colors that dogs can hear. But I just want to say thank you to everybody out there that's watching, even the funny trolls on TikTok who make fun of my neck beard. Your hate flows through me and encourages me to continue getting out there and doing more and more and more. But thank you, everyone. I truly appreciate the opportunity.
Well, you guys that are listening could help me out. I'm not showing that we have tons of people watching.
Yeah, I was looking just a second ago and I didn't see anything either.
And I'm looking now. I see that we are on Red, White. No, we are on my personal X account. And I tell you what, I'm going to bring up a.
I see on Facebook we're on yours and Prayer and Share and mine, New Defiance. But other than that, that's all I see.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, because we're not on the Red, White, and True's one.
The more that we do with this, the more hiccups we'll have for a little while. But we'll get all of those hiccups worked out. I mean, I've never even tried to stream to as many locations as what we're able to now. And I'm going to pull up to see if we're on X. And we are. But I want to see, I'm going to switch over if it'll let me to the Red, White, and True. And apparently we are not on Red, White, and True.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull that up now. Oh, it says our Facebook says our page doesn't meet the criteria to go live.
So we'll have to check on those things. Probably. Well, we're leaving tomorrow, so I'm not sure what we're going to do while we're gone. But I'll probably need to, maybe the two of us do a test run at some point and see if there's settings that we have to mess with and those kinds of things. Just did the update a day or so ago on the StreamYard, and there's more to it than just having eight different locations we can go to. So you and I can go through that, and let's go ahead and get on with what we're here to talk about. We're going to do a little bit of a recap of 2024. I wasn't watching your video, but I could hear your video. And when you think 2024, what comes to your mind?
Donald Trump winning the election?
I would have just about bet anything that I had that was going to be what you would say. I'm looking for there's my highlights. Well, I pulled up some different things, Christian stories, news stories, and I think we would be going the wrong direction if we didn't talk about the presidential election. We obviously know who won. We also obviously know the Biden story, where he did so horrible during the debate that his own people staged a coup and put him out. Do you look at it as staging a coup, Ronnie?
Yeah, they kind of just pushed Kamala through without being a primary. You know, she just because she happened to be the vice president. I don't see how that was legal for her to run. But that could have been a plan all along, though. You know, they knew she wouldn't have been able to win on her own. Biden screws up. They stage a coup, push her through. It just didn't work out for him.
And they are in total disarray right now. They don't know whether they're coming or they're going, and you know, I mean, you hardly ever see liberals dogging other liberals in the past, and you see that daily right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And to me, that's a good thing for our conservative side, because I mean, whether we like it or we don't, the new election cycle starts on January the 20th, or if it hadn't already started. And so every bit of time that the liberals take up in arguing back and forth is a good thing for us, I believe.
Yeah. Their civil war is good for us.
And that in turn, I think, is good for the country. I think the liberals realize that they're going to have to go a little bit more toward the center in order to reach out, because I mean, if you think about this, there's really no farther left than AOC, and she tried to get the ranking member in one of the House committees, and I think it may have been the Oversight Committee, and her own Democratic caucus did not vote her into that.
That whole squad of AOC and I can't remember the rest of their names. You can't get any. I mean, they're just left of Karl Marx.
Yeah, and they're all over. There's Omar that's from Somalia. There's Rashida Tlaib that is Palestinian. Presley is a Boston liberal, I think. Two of them got voted out this past election. The one that was from Missouri, Bush, I think was her name. And then there was the one guy who pulled the fire alarms that one time. He got voted out as well. So
said he was going for the door and accidentally pulled the fire alarm. Right, right.
Yeah. How did that work for you, buddy?
Yeah. And you're a lawmaker. Can't tell the difference between a door and a fire alarm.
Yeah. So the next on the list, Middle East conflict, continued unrest in the Middle East with specific events like rocket attacks from southern Lebanon targeting cities in Israel. Obviously, the start of that was in 2023 with Hamas doing their thing on October the 7th, 2023. There are a lot of dead bad guys in 2024.
And a lot of dead good guys too, unfortunately.
Well, that's a fact. That is a fact. I'm glad you said that, because it's appropriate that we take a second and pay honor to those that gave the ultimate sacrifice in that war that's going on. Trevor, help me out here. In order to go live on Facebook, we need 100 followers on our Red, White, and True, and the same thing on YouTube. So we're going to have to work on getting followers both of those places.
Well, YouTube, when I tried it earlier, it was because I had just created the account. You have to verify your phone number, and then for whatever reason, it takes 24 hours. So there was an actual time clock on there, and I think we're something at like 19 hours to go. So
and then it'll probably come up again after that, because I remember having to push to get my personal, Ed Boston Ministries over 100. So leave it to Trevor. He's always bailing me out, remembering things. And
appreciate it, Trevor.
The Middle East has been not just Israel versus Hamas. It has been Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. It's been Israel and Syria, Israel and Iraq, not necessarily the governments of Syria and Iraq, but militias and all that are there. And in the midst of all of this craziness going on, Syria, Bashar Assad is no longer in power, which, I mean, I don't know that you remember, you may, but I mean, it was his father before him, and his father was a brutal dictator, and the young one that just run to Russia was even worse than his father. So there's that. There's the Houthis in Yemen, and the leadership in the Houthis in Yemen, their days are numbered. Israel confined people better than anything I've ever seen. I mean, they took out the leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah, and some of them happened to be in Tehran when they killed them. And they did the pager thing.
The pager and the radio thing, phenomenal. And yeah, people died, but it made me laugh. That was some clever thinking right there.
Well, I mean, the saying goes, all's fair in love and war. And
really,
I don't know about love, but in war, that's, they took great measures to make sure, and they've taken great measures in many, many parts of the war to make sure that innocents weren't hurt. The amount of explosives that were used was only enough to affect the person that had the device on them. It didn't, it didn't explode like a grenade and get everything within.
There's no collateral damage. It was just the person that had it for a reason.
Well, and the whole key to it was to put the fear of God into them about using communication methods.
It worked.
Definitely worked like a charm there.
I tell you what, the next day I looked at my cell phone a little bit differently.
Well, just knowing that is even a possibility. Who would have thought that?
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody would have thought that, they might have thought somebody might do something to your cell phone or something to my cell phone, but an entire organization of people all over a country or all over a region, that's crazy stuff.
Don't screw with the Jews, man. They know how to do some cool stuff.
And they get cooler all the time, too.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that has happened in the last few days is a couple of months back, I'm trying to think of the name, the United States deployed a new air defense. It actually started in the Star Wars era in SDI. And I can't think of the name, but they deployed that in Israel. And there's actually 100 members of a unit that are there that I kind of get that they're basically testing it out, because when you think about it, when's the last time the United States has had the opportunity to blow a missile out of the air? We don't get that a whole heck of a lot. So they deployed to Israel, and which means we actually have boots on the ground in the nation of Israel. And one of the ballistic missiles from the Houthis in Yemen in the last few days was taken out by this new air defense system and I wish I could think of it. I ain't going to guess because I'll be wrong. But it was successful. It blew the missile out of the air. Unfortunately, with this latest barrage that has been happening from Yemen with the Houthis, has been a little more successful than any time during the entire war, whether it be Hamas, Hezbollah, the other proxies. I don't know exactly why that the air defense for Israel is not getting these missiles at the same accuracy. I mean, think about it. When Iran shot all of those missiles into Israel, and the first time, nobody was killed except for one Palestinian. And so, I mean, the success rate Israel has had up until recently has been tremendous. But there's been, go ahead.
From what I understand, the Iron Domes was pretty much depleted when they first attacked, because they threw so much so quickly that the Iron Dome could only do so much to keep up. But you're right. I don't know why it's not hitting as accurately anymore. I mean, it's still doing the job. It's just not the Iron Dome.
And there's a couple of systems that Broken Arrow, I think, is called one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I Googled it while you were talking. It's called THAAD, THAAD, missile defense system. I mean, it's a big deal that we went boots on the ground in Israel to put this into effect. I mean, It's kind of hard to say you don't support Israel when you've got boots on the ground with a missile defense system that's ready to rock and roll, and they have. One of America's prized terminal high altitude area defense, THAAD, THAAD, batteries fired an interceptor in combat for the first time Thursday. The system forward deployed in Israel was employed against an incoming medium-range ballistic missile fired by the Houthis in Yemen. The official that told about it added, it was unclear as of Friday if the U.S. interceptor or an Israeli one actually took out the missile. So a THAAD battery belonging to the United Arab Emirates scored the system's first kill overall in 2022. I listened to a guy named Chuck Holton, and he has an interesting theory why the United States gave the system to be able to be used in Israel. Like I said, it was developed during Star Wars time. That's way back with Reagan. And Holton thinks that we're allowing it to be used in Israel to show how effective it can be so that we can sell it to other places, other countries. Kind of hard to sell something that's been around as long as it has, but isn't. It may be tested and tried and true in controlled instances, but doing it in the real deal, saving people's lives, makes it a little bit more marketable. So, isn't that a kind of an interesting thing to say? Marketing military equipment. I guess it makes sense. Bad guys buy and sell things like that. So
why can't we?
Why can't we? Natural disasters. Helene and Milton.
People are still picking up the pieces from those.
Yeah, kind of give your thoughts on. Your mom just said, "I'll buy a tank, please."
Hey, you and me both, Mama.
Yeah.
So swaths of the country got hit with one hurricane, then a few weeks later, or a week later, whatever it was, got hit again. Like usual, our federal government ran into the rescue. Oh, wait. No, they didn't. People are still hurting down there. People are still suffering. Asheville, North Carolina was an island for a good long while. There were no roads in, no roads out. The only way people can get supplies was by air. I looked it up, and literally it was an island, mudslides, water, you name it. It was an unprecedented year for these natural disasters. we track earthquakes here in our command center, and there was quite a bit of some pretty big earthquakes. One was in Terre Haute last week. Widespread devastation and destruction, large-scale disaster response efforts. Still waiting on that to happen. I did see a video the other day. JD Vance was in North Carolina, I believe, talking about helping. It was right before Christmas. I mean, people, it was Christmas and people still don't have homes and anything. So definitely a very sad year for that kind of thing.
And I wish that what we would learn from, you wish that it didn't happen ever again, but pretty much guaranteed something of that effect is going to happen again.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the same scale, at least I hope not, but I hope that we've learned not to wait on the federal government to be the knight in shining armor that comes in and rescues the maiden in distress.
Help is not coming. As much as we would like to think so, help is not coming. At least not from Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam's got enough to worry about, granted. They could do better, obviously, but help's not coming.
Well, and I think even with Trump going into office, I think the response will be better at things like that, because I think he's a more attention to detail president than Biden ever dreamed of being. Trump is a results person. Biden is a, let's look and brag. And so that being said, I think that we can see better in the future, but I've said this on here with you before. I've said it many times over the years. If you want to screw up a program, just let the federal government get involved in it.
Pretty much.
And I know that there was so much frustration down in Carolinas, Eastern Tennessee, even Florida, Georgia, all of those areas, so much frustration because there were people there wanting to help, and some of them risked being arrested to help people when they needed help, not waiting for a month later. They were there to help rescue people when people still had the opportunity to be rescued. And so the frustrations there. The Father's House, we have collected some funds for a lady in Florida. Her motel, it's a mom and pop motel that that's this lady's entire income is running this motel. And the whole first floor was destroyed. There were some rooms on the second floor that were usable, and the lady used those to allow people that lived around there whose home was destroyed. Instead of renting to people, she, out of the goodness of her heart, was allowing people to stay there while they would go and work on their houses and things like that during the day, stay at hers. But here we are all these months later, and she's still waiting on permits to be able to get work done and even get started on things. And then there was things like FEMA had rules about the amount of damage, and if it was a certain amount, they could rebuild, but if it was above a certain amount, they had to tear the places down and start from scratch. And FEMA and rules aren't getting people to be able to get back running. I mean, the lady in Florida has already put out, I know that January is out. I mean, she's got things booked a year in advance for people that she's having to contact and say, well, there's no way we're going to be open in January. And I think Beth, who is our contact with that lady, said that they're looking, if they're not started soon, they're going to be no February or March, which, I mean, anybody that knows anything about travel knows that is the time of year where spring break rolls in massive amounts of money, and she's very close to being able to do something for spring break. And Beth, here, I'll just go ahead and put this on so people can see. If it's above 51%, it has to be demolished but can't build on the same site.
What?
Yeah, Beth this is a friend of hers. Beth has stayed there many, many times. And she's told us things like this that just boggle your mind, that makes zero sense. Not just the permits and I mean, I forget what month did that happen? October, September?
Yeah.
So at least 3 months, and we're still waiting on permits.
Permits. That makes no sense.
And Happy New Year, Mary, and to others that are out there and maybe running in and out. Happy New Year. And as I don't guess we're doing a celebration, so to speak, but as we're looking at 2024 in our rear view, I know that there's a lot of people that are glad that 2024 is in the rear view. There's a lot of people that struggled a lot in August was Helene.
Okay.
August.
Yeah, 2024 definitely was not a good year my way, but one of the best things that came out of it was hosting this show.
Well, I just look at that. Still no damage letter, still no permits. Damage letter, I think that she means with that comes from FEMA, that basically gives them permission to either repair or demolish. Well, the government has, that's just way too much government control. So what if you were at 51% and I mean, can you do what would be, can you appeal so that it can get down to 50 or 49%? So basically one person at FEMA who does those kind of things can determine whether or not your future is going to go forward or is going to go in the tank. I'm sorry, but I don't want somebody from the federal government having that much power. No.
Did I freezing? I don't know.
No, you're not.
I'm frustrated. I just came across something, and I don't mean to interrupt, and I understand that the whole thing isn't Joe Biden's fault, but Joe Biden has taken 532 off days as president, almost 50% of his tenure. 532 days off in less than 4 years.
Well, he's on vacation now, isn't he? Down in the Bahamas or somewhere like that, Virgin Islands.
Yeah. And I don't know what's wrong with my camera, but let me try this again. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, while he's gone, let's bring up another topic from this past year. Global diplomacy and peace efforts. The new year saw discussions and movements toward peace in various conflict zones, with media coverage focusing on the human cost of war and the geopolitical implications of military actions. Unfortunately,
I mean, literally nothing.
When there is war, there are bad things that are going to happen. There's going to be innocent people that are killed. That is part of war. But what doesn't have to be part of war is the peace movements that promote violence that they want to provoke, and condemn war efforts for people who were legitimately attacked and are retaliating against those attacks. The 2024 Paris Olympics took place this last year. That was an interesting time. I know a lot of us decided not to have much to do with the Olympics because of different social issues that were taking place. And so the Olympics this year wasn't the same for me as it has been in the past, but I was looking for some comments at another place. That's where she's saying that was a joke. The Olympics, I think, is what she had reference to. Let's look at some Christian issues that took place. There was some serious high-profile scandals within Christian denominations, one of which included fallout from sex abuse allegations and debates over the inclusion of the LGBT movement. Go along with that, United Methodist Church made headlines. Well, they have for the last few years, but boy, it really came to a head in 2024. The United Methodist Church lifted bans on gay ordination and marriage for same-sex couples. One side of the equation celebrated, and the other side, well, let's just say that the other side left the denomination. There was a huge exodus of churches from the United Methodist denomination this past year. And the United Methodists have been moving more liberal for a long time. And we're talking another topic here that Beth knows very well, because Beth was a member of a United Methodist congregation for over 50 years and has left. That's a long time to be affiliated with a denomination, and for them to just walk away from their congregations and their beliefs. That's one of the reasons why I have a sermon that I haven't preached in a while that is called "Your Denomination Won't Get You to Heaven."
You heard the old joke about Lutherans, right?
Well, I probably have, but I'll let you.
So I was born and raised Lutheran. Martin Luther brewed beer. I've got one here for New Year's. But anyways, so a guy dies and he goes to heaven, and St. Peter's showing him around and everything. And he says, "Oh, well, what's this room over here? Oh, well, that's the Catholics. And what's this room over here? Well, that's the Mormons. And what's this room over here? Oh, well, that's the Protestants." And then they come to another room and it's all closed up. And he says, "Well, what's that room over there?" And St. Peter goes, "Shh, Don't talk too loud. That's the Lutherans. They think they're the only ones up here.
I have heard that, but I've also heard it with many different denominations being the punchline, and it works every time. It works every time. There was some interesting people who would give their life to Christ or become more outspoken. Russell Brand has become a very, very, very outspoken Christian. And it is just fun to listen to him. I don't know where he is from, whether Great Britain or that part of Europe, but you know, he has a pretty heavy accent. But listening to him, he talks about scripture all the time. And it just, I mean,
he knows his stuff too. He
yeah,
really
that's what I'm trying to say there. He knows what he's talking about, and the things that he says aren't just, you know, out there thoughts and things like that. I mean, you're right. He knows what he's talking about, and it's really a refreshing thing to see that somebody who is early in their walk in their relationship has taken the time that he has to learn the things that he did and he has been learning. Another interesting one, I think most conservatives are fans of Denzel Washington. He recently was baptized and was licensed as a minister and is working on his ordination as a minister. Think about that. Guy can earn millions and millions for one movie, and he wants to be a minister. That says a lot. I mean, it's not like he has to quit doing movies or anything like that, but I think with both of those we talked about, Russell Brand, Denzel, there's a lot of other actors who have openly professed their faith, more all the time are doing so. But it just shows that people are all the same. You know, Denzel can make millions on one picture. You and I won't make millions in our entire career. But it still comes down to Denzel puts his pants on one leg at a time, and you and I put our pants on one leg at a time. It's about his relationship with Jesus, and it's about our relationship with Jesus. And to me, the last few years, well, the last 4 years in particular, have been horrible in my estimation with woke and DEI and all of those things. Basically, all of those say liberal pushed agendas. I mean, that's what it says. Yeah. You know, we call it woke, we call it DEI. It's basically just liberal pukes getting their way, is what it is. And in the last few months, to coincide with the election, I think the American people said, I'm woken up. You know, I'm already awake. I don't need to be woke.
Go woke, go broke.
Yep, there you go. And it, you know, I mean, certain things happened even before the election was going full crazy. I mean, the Busch Light or the Bud Light issue and different businesses that paid a heavy price. Disney paid a huge price for being woke. And well, almost every day that goes by, you'll see a story headlined with whatever company is abandoning their DEI. And I'm thinking, good for them, but think about all the money they wasted and sorry about their luck. They should have known better to start with.
But it's what's popular, it's what's in.
Yeah. Let's see. I got a couple more. Assassination attempts were part of this last year. Space exploration. SpaceX continues to do amazing things. One of the things that I looked and saw in multiple sources talked about climate change, and I think you and I probably are on the same page there. That climate change is pretty much a bunch of garbage. Am I speaking wrong for you there, Ronnie?
No, it's a bunch of hooey.
Okay.
I don't see how taxing me more to create this new Green Deal is going to save the planet. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, speaking of the squad, there you go.
Yeah.
They're all behind that. But I did read things about record heat in many places this year. Obviously, there were massive. There was more floods than just with the hurricane in different parts of the world. Deadly floods in Kenya and Brazil. Wildfires. You know, there's a lot of things that that can go wrong in nature, and I think, as in many topics, we can go back to Scripture. And when Scripture says in the last days, and then it makes a list of things, I believe earthquakes and natural disasters and floods are all part of that. You seeing that your way?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's not just record heat either. I mean, we're about to have a record cold here in Columbus. In the next week or so, whatever it is. So it's just, if there's no 100% consensus between scientists about global change, global warming, anything like that, it ebbs and flows. It happens that way. Look back history. It just, if you could show me on paper, then yeah, okay, maybe there's something going on here. Now, granted, are we doing some irreparable damage to our environment? Absolutely. Are there ways to change it? Absolutely. Taxing me out of my last penny that I have left to live is not what's going to do that. But, solar power. We have solar power at our campsite. I love it. It's phenomenal. It's free energy. It comes from the sun. Can we power an air conditioner or a refrigerator? No. Would I trust my life on it to run, a defibrillator to save my life? No. But it's awesome. So I guess I could take it or leave it. I don't think it's the hype of what everybody's putting into it.
Well, you'll find, I'm glad you said that about solar and stuff, because for those that don't know, Ron has been under the weather for several days. He's got a bad back in addition to that, and the under the weather part has gotten better, but the back, him just sitting there, I'm sure he's in pain setting up. But he doesn't know that we went to see a movie called Homestead.
Oh no, I know, because I told Ash that I wanted to go see that, and then I got down with my back and I seen on Facebook, Ed and Amy are at Homestead, and I'm like, ugh.
Well,
so I was going to ask you, how was it?
Let me just tell you, you will be in great elation. I mean, you'll have like clouds over your head and hear angels singing. It is so good.
Is it better than Civil War?
I don't know that it's better, but it is very, very, very good. And one of the funny things, it's not meant to. It's in by no means a comedy at all. It's very much a drama, and it's all serious. But as a person watching, the electrical grid went out and electric cars were useless. Oh my. It was, you'll love it. You'll love it.
Well, one of these days when I can, walk from here to the bathroom without crying, then maybe I'll get out of the house and go see it.
It'll be on for a while, and it actually is the beginning of a series.
I heard that. I'm looking forward to that.
Actually, your mom and I went to the movie, and as part of that, with Angel Studios, who is going to be the ones that put the series out. We've seen the first 2 episodes of the series, and that's all that's out right now. It'll be released kind of like The Chosen each week or each set period of time. They're going to release a new episode. So I don't know. It would be fun to, if they had it all released right now and to just binge watch this, because
that's basically all I can do right now anyways.
if somebody has never binge watched a program that there's multiple episodes involved or multiple movies involved, I don't know how many times your mother and I have said, well, it's 11 o'clock, let's finish this one out and then we'll go to bed, and then it'll get to the end and it's a cliffhanger, and you're like,
and then
we
do
can't
3
go to
more.
bed now, we got to watch the next one, and usually that ends up being 3 more, and we end up in bed at 4 in the morning. And but binge watching is fun, and it'll be the case with this. People that didn't get to see it early on will be binge watching at some point in time. And your mom says you will love it, and it's amazing. And we sat there while we were watching it and said, oh my goodness, Ronnie is going to be in heaven. Let me see if I got any more here on my list. Well, this was actually current event as well. Jimmy Carter passed away this last week. He'll be laying in state at the rotunda of the Capitol for a while. I think
beginning January 7th, I believe, is what I saw.
Yeah, there's something about January the 9th too.
Yeah.
Biden named that day as an official holiday, which official holidays are good for government workers. They get a day off with pay. But your mom.
Yeah.
Let me just talk about Carter for a second. Carter was president before you were born. And, well, yeah. Let me say the good things first. Carter was a very polite man. Carter was easy to relate to. He was a peanut farmer, is what he grew up as before he got into politics. He was a devout Christian, and I know that there would be some people that would debate on whether or not he was a Christian or not with some of the things that he didn't oppose or he promoted, and that's another discussion for another time. But one thing about Carter, I believe he meant well. That being said, until Joe Biden came along, Carter was quite possibly the worst president in the history of our country. If you remember, if people that were alive remember the fuel shortages, gas stations would just totally run out of gasoline. Or when they would get filled with gasoline, there would be stretches of people waiting to pump gas, and people would sit for literally hours, like you would in a traffic jam, waiting to be able to pump a gallon of gas. There was things that were rationed. The economy was horrible, horrible. Iran had, I don't know, I think it was in the 50s, the number of hostages that they held for 444 days. He just was not a good president. But that doesn't mean that in this point in time, and Beth kind of says it well right there. Let me put that up there. He was an awful president, but a great humanitarian. And I hope that that's what people remember about him. You know,
Habitat for Humanity.
Yes, there's no sense for you and I to sit here and bash him for how bad he was about things. You know, I brought him up. I'm not going to sit here and drill it into the ground, because the people that lived through that know. And I'm thinking that right before Jimmy Carter passed away, he called Joe Biden and said, "Thank you." And Joe said, "What are you thanking me for, Jimmy?" And Jimmy said, "I used to be the worst president in the history of the country until you came along. So thank you. I can die now." But
I actually saw a video the other day of Kamala Harris saying, if Jimmy Carter can get out and vote early, and then it showed a news article of him dying.
I was going to say, he's probably already voted for.
He's already voted Democrat, yeah, for 2028.
But the humanitarian side, like you said, Habitat for Humanity and different things like that, you have a hard time finding anything negative about that. I'm sure there are things that are negative, but I hope that goes down as his legacy for his family and all. And I hope that people pay the proper respect in the next couple of weeks with the things that are going to go on. Bad mouthing and beating people down only makes us look bad if we do that, in my opinion. So I hope people are respectful. You know, sometimes you got to be the bigger person. And I think this is probably one of those cases.
Agreed.
It would be a great opportunity to show that the left and the right can work together on some things. I mean, it would take an act of God to make the left and the right work together in harmony on a regular basis. But it would be not. It would be nice to see some progress made. I mean,
unfortunately, that's one thing that I remember from being a senior in high school on 9/11. Didn't matter who you were, Republican or Democrat, black or white, everybody came together for one goal. And I really, really miss that. I wish that was an everyday thing.
Well, I never will forget with that. On the steps of the Capitol building, Congress, many members of Congress standing on the steps, singing "God Bless America."
Yeah.
God bless America.
And now things are so decisive that a president was attempted assassination, and Donald Trump stands up and says, "Fight, fight, fight." And Republicans are going, "Yeah, he's alive. That's awesome." And Democrats are going, "Damn, he missed."
Yep. And that is sad. Very, very, very sad. I think that's a huge difference between the left and the right. And I would fuss at people on the right that cheered for things like that. I mean, there is just no doubt that a lot of liberals had no problem with that assassination attempt. And like you said, upset that it didn't work. I mean, you look at the CEO that got killed, and so many people that are making that guy into a cult hero, and apparently they think he is good looking, and that matters when you when you murder somebody. So
yeah, you killed somebody, but he's a good looking guy, so we'll let him go.
Yeah, he's good looking, and it was just a CEO of a health insurance
Yeah,
company.
just a CEO.
He deserved it.
Liberal logic.
Well, we're about ready to wrap up. I've seen this is actually a court issue and not an administration issue. But if you remember, the masterminds of 9/11 that are still in Gitmo were given basically what Biden did to the 37 people on death row. They were given a commuted sentence of life versus the death penalty. And when it happened, it's been probably a year, maybe a little more, a little less. The defense secretary, Lloyd Austin, came out and pulled that agreement and said, after everybody went berserk about the fact that they pulled 911 masterminds off of the death row, he came out and pulled that, and a court ruled today that he didn't have the authority to do that. And so the way it stands as of right now, those agreements are back in place, which, knowing now the way Biden has done the death penalty issue, makes you wonder if that wasn't the goal all along. Let's pull those, then let's illegally reinstate them, and then I'm pretty sure the courts are going to overturn that. And so Biden gets his way. And on that one, his hands are clean because it was all done through the military, and most people aren't putting Biden's name along with that.
Yeah.
Well, next week, your mom and I will be in Daytona, but usually when we're on the road like that, we still do our live streams. So I don't know about this Fridays with your mom and I. We'll see. But if you're good to go, we'll be here regular time next Tuesday.
If you can't do it, that's fine. I'll do it. We'll do a sing along. We'll watch some old episode of Star Trek or something, but we'll figure something out. You guys hang out with me, and I'm fine with that.
Let me look at my prayer list here real quick. I know that our friend Loretta Stanley, we found out that she has cancer and is beginning treatments for that. Still praying Amy Keller, Danelle Heck, Ed Bates, Marlene. Those all have immediate issues that need addressed, and many others. A lot of people right now are grieving the loss of loved ones this past year. We got past Christmas, but really until after you get into the first of the year and everybody gets back to work and back in school and all of those things, people still have a hard time dealing with those firsts. And so let's close in prayer, and we'll update with the things we're doing with Red, White, and True as we go out. Father, thank you for who you are and that you're an awesome and mighty God. And I thank you for our country. I thank you for placing us here when we could have been in any other place in the world. I thank you for the progress that has been made in our nation in the last several months. And I pray that that progress wouldn't just be short term, but it will be long term, and that we will draw closer to you instead of pulling apart as we have been for so long now. I lift up those that are on the prayer list, the ones that I mentioned, the ones that haven't been mentioned. You know each situation, Father, and you know exactly what needs to happen. I thank you for Ronnie and his family, and I pray that he'll continue to feel better. And Father, in the name of Jesus, I'm going to raise my hand and say, in the name of Jesus, heal Ronnie's back so that he is able to move around and to get back to work and just take good care of him. Thank you for what we do together here on Red, White, and True. And help us to follow your lead and to make things in a manner that pleases you. I pray that you would keep Amy and I safe as we travel to Florida and back. Help us to have a good time of relaxation and fun. Keep us safe, Father, and then bring us back the next week ready to go. Thank you for your love and your goodness and your mercy. And we pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, why don't you share a little bit about what we've done in the last week as we try to move Red, White, and True into the next step?
All right. Well, like we were talking earlier, we've got the Facebook page up now. We also have our own X page. We started our own TikTok and our own YouTube. And last night we started working on our redwhiteandtrue.net. If you go looking for us on certain things and you can't find us through Red, White, and True, look up Red, White, and True 115, which is 11/5, the first night, election night. That's we kind of come up with that. Some places needed to have numbers, name and numbers, because Red, White, and True was taken. So we come up with 11/5 because it just so happened to work that 11/5 was election night, our first night of doing Red, White, and True. So go find us, like, comment, share, subscribe, or however the YouTubers do it. But that it gives us a little bit more outreach to people. Hopefully we can get a lot more eyes and a lot more comments. And I was thinking one of these days we'd like to have a talk. You guys ask us questions, or we post questions to you. Have a good set day where we can all just kind of sit down and have a chat. Not that talking to Pastor Ed gets boring or him listening to me ramble on gets boring, but it'd be nice to have a actual conversational round table kind of thing. Our website will definitely schedule out events and stuff like that. And we just so blessed that everything is taken off like this. And I'm just really, really, truly excited to see if we got from there to here since 11/5 election night. What are we going to do from here to this time next year? It's amazing. And the blessings keep overflowing. So keep praying for us. Keep us in your thoughts and your prayers. Keep coming up. Just keep coming, listen to us ramble. Just come listen to me talk and watch my goofy facial expressions. I promise to bring new ones each week.
Well, that's a good thing. So, we'll let everybody know whether Amy and I are going. I'm going to guess that we will be on Friday, but I won't promise that, because who knows? There may be some crab leg place that only serves on Friday night at 7 o'clock, and And well, you can't eat crab legs anyway, right?
I know, but I love crab legs, and if I eat one, I die. So thank you.
Well, we'll eat plenty for you while we're there.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Help keep the population under control for me.
Yeah, we got you covered.
I appreciate it.
So let me tell you about church on Sunday. Old Union will have our good friend Troy Evans preaching in my place. There is a pitch-in dinner afterwards. It will be lasagna, there will be spaghetti, and there will be fettuccine. Or there'll be Alfredo. I don't know if they're going to use spaghetti noodles or fettuccine noodles, but there will be Alfredo. If you show up, you don't have to bring anything. They've got that all covered. Sunday night, there will be no service here at the Father's house. And the following Sunday, everything will be back to regular schedule. So until we see you again on here or elsewhere, go out and do the right thing.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.